goodness. 12 seconds to go. Curry will walk it up. Off the screen. Curry at midcourt. They're going to trap him. Feeds over to Draymond. Draymond looks. Finds Thompson with 3, with 2, with 1. The jumper's up. Good! .2 to go! Klay Thompson with the bucket! Sacramento calls time. Warriors 102, Kings 101.
Now back to Warriors Wrap-Up with John Dickinson on 95.7 The Game.
Yeah, what a finish. Inside Chase Center tonight. Tim Roy on the call there. Domantas Sabonis looked like he was going to luck his way into a Sacramento victory tonight with the bank shot. But Klay Thompson, the Warriors stayed poised, handled the double when the Kings came after Stephen Curry. Draymond found Klay, and that was a tough shot that Klay Thompson stuck as the Warriors go on to beat the Kings 102-101. We welcome you into Warriors Wrap-Up here tonight on 95.7 The Game. It's John Dickinson from Chase Center. We'll keep things rolling here throughout this 10 o'clock hour. Hope to get you all the way up until 11 tonight. Hope to hear from the head coach of the Warriors, Steve Kerr, and Klay Thompson as well as he meets with the media here following what was a thrilling finish, as most of these games are, between these two teams. After kind of a slog of a game for the Warriors, it really, I don't like trap game. I heard trap game being thrown around a lot as it related to this one for the Warriors, just simply based on the fact that De'Aaron Fox was going to miss the game after sustaining an ankle injury on Sunday when the Kings beat the Lakers, and the Warriors have been rolling. Right? Dominating third quarters, dominating with their bench. Steph Curry dominating the universe over these first 4 games of the season, especially the 3 games on the road trip. And the Warriors are playing so great, and Sacramento doesn't have De'Aaron Fox, who at least against the Warriors has been the Kings' best player, and so the Warriors should just roll in this game. I wasn't buying any of that heading into this game. And in fact, the Warriors, in a lot of ways, played the exact game tonight that I expected them to play. A little slow-footed, a little low energy. I thought the building was kind of dead tonight. The game lacked, I thought, a lot of the juice that typically is on display when these teams have played each other. Maybe Northern California getting a little bit of Warriors-Kings fatigue, just based on the fact that we've been, just having it left and right here in the early part of the season and a couple of games in the preseason, and then the thriller of a 7-game series going back to April. And so, without De'Aaron Fox, with the Warriors playing well on the road, maybe Warrior fans tonight just thought they would cruise. I thought tonight was the kind of game where last year it definitely wouldn't have played out as grimy and ugly and unaesthetically pleasing as this game played out. And so, last year the Warriors would have been content trying to win a game like tonight, 130-128. And I think if that had been the type of attitude they brought into this game, they probably would have gotten beat. Now, look, it's a make-or-miss league and all of that, and if Klay misses that shot, which he very easily could have, or maybe having a different conversation. But I think the Warriors, above all, and the shot from Klay, tremendous. To stick that shot, the patience that the Warriors showed in getting the ball to Klay off of the double, and Draymond staying patient and all of that. Steve Kerr had timeouts in his back pocket, one left that he could have taken in that situation, but he rolled it out, and the Warriors found a way to get the job done in what was not a pretty game. So to me, when you win a game like that at the end, you get a little bit of extra credit for the fact that you just kept grinding through it. And so the Warriors able to do that tonight. I'm not surprised that the Kings made this game close. The Kings have a lot of real talented players on their roster and guys that were looking for opportunities to score and maybe get a few more shots than they had been with De'Aaron Fox out there on the floor. But Sabonis did his thing against the Warriors, much more effective than he's been in a lot of the matchups, especially the playoff matchups, and Sacramento needed him to be. But all in all, when you look at this and the numbers on Klay Thompson, 3rd game-winning shot for Klay with 5 seconds or less in his career. It's the 2nd one against Sacramento. Klay Thompson did it back in November of 2018 against Sacramento. It was a layup in a game that the Warriors won 117-116. I remember that game. It was right after Thanksgiving on a Saturday night, and that 18-19 season, and a wild finish there over at Oracle in the final year of Oracle. And then Klay in March of 2014 at Indiana hit a jumper that gave the Warriors what would be a 98-96 victory on that night. So this time the third one of his career, 5 seconds or less for Klay Thompson to knock that shot down. And again, hat tip to the Warriors to be able to grind through an ugly game when they didn't play their best and figure out a way to win it. So 888-957-9570. 888-957-9570. That is the phone number to participate in the program. You can give me a call or shoot me a text. We are live on YouTube tonight as well. So for those watching the broadcast on YouTube, hey, how are you? Good to see you. Coming to you from Chase Center here tonight as the Warriors improve to 4-1, and they pick up their first home win, and they've been the only team in 4 games that's been able to beat the Kings. They beat the Kings tonight. They beat the Kings in Sacramento on Friday, and now these teams can at least get, about 4 weeks away from each other before they'll meet again in November over in Sacramento on the 28th, and I think that's one of those funky in-season tournament games. The Warriors are going to become familiar with those in-season tournament games. I think those begin on Friday when the Warriors are in Oklahoma City. Those pool play games with Oklahoma City and the Kings and what Spurs are the other team in the Warriors group there. Among those teams, I think Minnesota may be the other team in the Warriors group. I probably should know who's in the Warriors group, although I think I just got it with Minnesota, OKC, San Antonio, and Sacramento. So going to hear a lot about, as if you haven't heard a lot about the in-season tournament already, a lot more about it here coming up, because I think all these games on Fridays and Tuesdays moving forward here, beginning on Friday, are going to be considered pool play games, although they're regular season games to boot. So you want to react to this one, 888-957-9570, as the Warriors improve now to 4-1. Draymond Green just kind of running through this game, hit a couple of threes early on in this one. He finished with 13 points in the game. Warriors had the lead for most of the first quarter, but Sacramento, a 7-0 run at the end of the first quarter against the Chris Paul, Gary Payton II, Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga, Dario Saric lineup that struggled in 2 first-half stints in the 2 games against the Kings, but they would play much better later on and had a key run in this game. But the Warriors did lead by as many as 9, then trailed by 3 at the end of the first quarter. Second quarter, really the only note I had was just how tired and slow-footed and disjointed and uninspired the Warriors looked after the quick start where they had that 9-point lead in the first quarter. A couple of individual plays from Kuminga, which I thought were solid in his first half stint, but still Kuminga, erratic. He'll drive and hit some shots. He'll drive and miss some shots. But you look up at the end of the half, and the Warriors somehow were up 1. They had a late run second quarter to retake the lead after the Kings felt like they were in control for a good portion of the second quarter, and then no third quarter dominance for the Warriors in this one. Kings had a 12-2 start. They took a 9-point lead, and the Warriors just had, again, zero juice against the wrong team to be low energy against. Even without De'Aaron Fox playing, the Warriors got down as many as 11. But then that group of Chris Paul and Gary Payton II, Moses Moody, Jonathan Kuminga, Dario Saric came in, and I thought it provided a jolt for the Warriors late in the third quarter. It was a quick 5-0 run. It ended up an 8-7 advantage for the Warriors to the end of the quarter. And the Warriors, still found themselves at that point down by 5 going to the fourth quarter. But it was that group, and then Klay Thompson joined that group at the top of the fourth quarter, and it was 7-0, 9-2 Warriors. It was Klay Thompson, I believe, for Gary Payton II, actually, no, it was Klay Thompson for Moses Moody at the beginning of the fourth quarter. So he was out there with Peyton, Kuminga, Saric, and Chris Paul, and that group got the Warriors right back in to the game. The 9-2 run there to take a 2-point lead, and then it was really back and forth down the stretch. Thought the Warriors were going to get burned by offensive rebounds and second chances in this one. Again, just a step slow were the Warriors for good portions of this game getting to the glass. Sacramento did have 14 offensive rebounds in the game, but the second chance points, the Kings only converted that into 12 points with the 14 offensive rebounds. I thought the Warriors were fortunate. There were times in this game where the Kings would get second and third opportunities and just keep missing, and the Warriors eventually would clear it and go back down the other way, but there were times where it looked like that was going to burn the Warriors. And then down the stretch, just a lot of poise for the Warriors. It looked like a couple of fouls. Warriors went in the penalty at the 3:11 mark, and it looked like some bailout fouls. Draymond fell Harrison Barnes. Herter ended up at the free throw line. More free throws for Sacramento, and that ultimately took a 1-point Warriors lead into a 3-point Sacramento lead. But the Warriors were just really poised down the stretch. Draymond Green hits a layup to pull the Warriors within one. Then Monk goes back the other way, gets a layup. Klay Thompson with the layup to make it a 1-point game there. And then Sabonis got fouled by Curry, and the Warriors looked like they were in a trouble at 99-96 with just over a minute to go. But again, the poise and the execution, and I've talked about it so much in these head-to-head matchups when the Warriors have faced the Kings. If you are patient and you run your offense, even in a more grimy game, you can get layups against this Sacramento defense, and the Warriors were able to do that. Peyton got a layup to make it 99-98. The Warriors were able to get a stop on a shot clock violation, and then Steph Curry driving layup at 31, the floating layup to make it a 100-99 lead for the Warriors, and then Sabonis banks it in, and Klay Thompson ends up bringing everybody home happy for Golden State and in the Bay with the jumper to put the Warriors up 102-101. The game winner with 0.2 of a second to go. A lot to be excited about. A big moment for Klay Thompson. And look, I know Klay's been maligned, and whenever he has a bad game, I think the conversation does get a little crazy. I tend to try and keep it a little more level-headed and honest. It's not that Klay needs to be run out of town or anything like that. I mean, that's just foolishness when you look at everything he did to come back from a couple of injuries and the champion's blood and all of that. But I think, I've been one to note the fact that it probably isn't going to be as consistent, those vintage Klay games and moments compared to what it used to be, but he's still fully capable of providing them. And I thought Klay played an excellent floor game tonight. You look at the final plus-minus totals, he was a +10. I thought he was really digging on Sabonis. He was help defending tonight. I thought Klay, even though he didn't shoot it great, and it ended up 6 of 15, I thought he played a really solid floor game. I thought this was one of his games where you didn't even look at the fact that maybe he wasn't shooting it well, because he was, I think, visibly impactful in a positive light in a number of different other areas tonight. And so, make or miss, if that shot goes out, maybe we're having a different conversation. But, you got to feel good for Klay. In the moment, coming off missing the game the other night against the Pelicans, to come back and show that he's still got the killer Klay, the clutch Klay moments. And I think the Warriors absolutely needed it. All right, let's get to the phones. 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. Warriors 102, Kings 101. Big win for the Dubs. They're 4-1. Kings fall to 2-2, and we'll get it rolling with TC in Sacramento, tipping us off here tonight on Warriors Wrap Up. What's going on, TC?
What's up, man? Man, John, what's up, man? That was a lucky win. You guys got that by 1 point, man. Kings could have won that game, but I tipped the hat. You know what I'm saying? It took everything everybody had. Klay hit the shot. I'm living right now, bro, as a Kings fan. Y'all got that, bro. We'll win the next game. I just wanted to tap in, bro. That was a good game, though. It took out. Y'all was fully healthy. We was out Fox 1-point win. A win is a win, but the Kings should have won that game. You hit it on the nose. We got a bunch of offensive rebounds and second chance points, and we kept missing. Turned some of those into some points, and we win the game easily, though. But Warriors won, bro, so I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah, thanks, TC. Warriors won. They deserved to win. If the Kings had won, Klay Thompson shot rims out, whatever. They cash in some of those offensive rebounds earlier in the game, and it's not a close game. If Sacramento had walked out of here a win, they would have deserved it. They played very well tonight, I thought, without De'Aaron Fox. They played a more grimy game than you think that the Kings have in the bag. Honestly, I mean, they were, and again, part of it I do think is the Warriors looked a little slow tonight off the one game at home, off the road trip, and going to the Southwest in Houston and New Orleans, and then flying back, and they didn't have a practice or a shoot around or anything like that since they played Monday. They basically showed up showed up today after playing on Monday and flying home and all of that, and taking yesterday off and rolled out. So I'm not surprised that the Warriors were sluggish. I'm not surprised that the Warriors maybe took Sacramento a little bit for granted. Foolish in doing that, because the Kings are exactly the kind of team that without De'Aaron Fox can beat a team like the Warriors if the Warriors don't take them lightly. But I do think the Warriors' defensive spirit was there for a good chunk of the game tonight, even if the athleticism and the quickness and the juice maybe wasn't there. And so the Warriors were able to allow that to have them prevail. And, you look at the end of the night, both teams hit 11 threes. The Kings shot 41%, just a tick under 41% in this game, 36 for 88. Sabonis, again, got rolling better than he has in games against the Warriors of late, but they did a nice job against Keegan Murray, who you knew was going to be probably the primary player along with Malik Monk that would look to up their offensive game from a scoring standpoint, the wing and guard standpoint. And Malik Monk had 16, but it was kind of a quiet 16. Only 9 shots. I thought the Warriors prevented Malik Monk from having one of those 30-point kind of games that he's had against them in the past, and they did a nice job there. And really, I think the three-point line tonight tells the story, not in that the Warriors shot it great, although they didn't shoot a ton of threes, more so that Sacramento didn't shoot it well. And Keegan Murray and Kevin Huerter combined for a 1 of 12, and Vezenkov, an 0 for 3. He looked like he was a little overwhelmed out there. He was 1 for 6. The Warriors' defensive effort really tonight, I think, showed through, and that allowed them to have a chance to win the game on the Klay Thompson shot, and they won the game on the Klay Thompson shot. So all in all, nice win. Sacramento, nothing to really hang their head at without De'Aaron Fox. I thought for the Warriors, this would have been the first semi-bad loss of the year had they lost it, but to pull it out is big, to gain a little separation to 500. I mean, how long did it take the Warriors to get 3 games over 500 last year? I'm going to look that one up, because we talked about didn't win 3 in a row on the road last year and won their 3rd road game in December, the week before Christmas last year. I think I want to say it was like March before the Warriors were 3 games over 500 even last year. So being 4-1 is no joke, considering where this team was a year ago. All right, Junior in Pacifica is next here on Warriors Wrap Up on 95.7 The Game. Hey, Junior.
Hey, JD. First of all, I was a Chris Paul cynic, not even a skeptic. Cynic, like, what are they doing? This is not going to work. And I'm so pleasantly surprised. Great to see things work out well. I did not think this was his in the second unit's most amazing game tonight, but I think it was big for both, the older story and the new story. We have an ongoing thing with the Kings. We and them are going to be in each other's way, I think, for some years to come. So I think this was a really nice win to slot, and to get Klay coming out with the winner. I think he plays on emotion and confidence a fair amount, and this is going to help for the rest of the season. So really great win to see, and I would like to hear you say who you think the outstanding Warriors player of the game was.
Yeah, I appreciate the call. I mean, got to give. I mean, Steph was, I think, real good offensively. Although, 7 of 15. I mean, they really didn't have. I mean, Saric helped them tonight with 15 off the bench. It was really a committee. I thought Wiggins offensively had one of his better games with 14 on 6 of 10 shooting and a couple of free throws. Kuminga, they needed Kuminga's 12 points, even though it came on 9 shots. So I think it was, I'm going to roll with Steph, who hit 4 3-pointers again, and he's done that now in each and every game this season. But it really was a committee. I mean, Draymond going 13 and 9 tonight with a couple of block shots and 9 assists and a couple of rebounds. 13 points and 9 assists for Draymond. Not Chris Paul's best game in terms of percentages and things like that. And not the bench's best game tonight, but it's worked to this point through 5 games with Chris Paul. No doubt about it. And you look at where the Warriors are at right now as far as what I was just talking about. Yeah, the quick glance here, and forgive me if I missed something in looking back through last year real quick while I was talking to Junior. March 2nd. The Warriors weren't 3 games over 500 until March 2nd last year when they beat the Clippers here at Chase Center. It was their 4th straight win. They went from, 1 under 500 to 3 over 500 and what would end up being a 5-game winning streak in March. How different is this year from last year? Yeah, well, the Warriors were in a very different place a year ago when you look at even just where they were in terms of just unable to separate. They did get off to a decent start because they were home at the beginning last year, and only 1 game difference as far as the overall record from last year. They were 3-2 after 5, but this was right before they went on that long road trip where they couldn't win a game and found themselves 3-7 through the first 10 games of the season. So much different story for the Warriors to this point. Mark in Millbrae next here on Warriors Wrap Up. Hey, Mark.
What's going on, man? What a game tonight. Just incredible. And as you mentioned there, highlighted, this start is really impressive because the West is so loaded. The Warriors could ill afford to get off to another slow start and basically have to work and battle their way out like they had to do last year. And I just love the variety of the production they're getting from this team right now. And it's different guys every night. You can get like a Saric, even Kuminga coming off the bench. CP3 didn't have his best game tonight, but you can have a Draymond pick it up there. And the Kings, man, they're a tough opponent. I thought without Fox, they really struggled tonight, and they gave everything the Warriors could handle and more. And they really played a game, and they probably should have won it, but great teams find ways to win even when they're not playing their best ball. And it's just incredible. I love that last play there where they didn't really necessarily go to Curry. They wanted Klay to get that last shot there, and Draymond got him the ball in perfect position, and he nailed that perfect jumper there to ice the game there. So just all in all, I love the way they're playing right now, and this is a start that we wanted to see this team get off to, especially on the road where they were just a hot mess last year. And so far, so good, and we just want to see them continue this well because, like I mentioned, you want to be a top 4 seed, and there's no gimmies in the West this year outside of maybe Houston. It's going to be a bear every night for the Warriors, and you got to find ways to pull out games. And last year they lost a lot of games like this, and great to see they pulled this off tonight. So hats off to them. And Klay, man, earning that money. He wants that max deal after the offseason. Great shot tonight and a way to win it. Thanks for the time.
Yep, thanks, Mark. Appreciate it. I think this is going to be a different Western Conference this year. I think it's going to be a much better Western Conference than I don't think it's going to be 5 teams all between 39 and 43, 43 wins, 6 teams in the final day of the season that could be 6th to 11th. I don't think it's going to be that way. I think it's going to be a little more top heavy, and I think a lot of these teams are going to be vying for position, and I think there's a window for the Warriors to get into the top 4 if they could just beat the teams that they're supposed to beat and find ways to win when they don't play well. And I thought tonight they found a way to win when they didn't play well, regardless of whether the Kings had their best or second best player in De'Aaron Fox. All right, we'll pause here. We'll come back. 888-957-9570. It is Warriors wrap-up. John Dickinson at Chase Center. Warriors beat the Kings tonight 102-101. We're back here on 95.7 The Game.
Happy 62nd birthday, Granddad.
Thanks, sweetheart.
I got you this.
A mug. What does it say? Beware. If you are 60 or older, you may be at increased risk of serious consequences from RSV, respiratory syncytial virus, compared to adults younger than 60.
Not all dangers come with warning labels. Talk to your pharmacist.
for a while. A week from Saturday, the Warriors will have a rematch against the Cavaliers, but all good. Wasn't pretty tonight. Warriors didn't shoot it particularly well from three, but the Warriors did have more individual players who shot the ball well tonight than the Kings did, and that allowed them to hang in it. I thought the grimy defensive mentality allowed them to hang in it, even though this was a game where the Warriors were, I thought, a step slow and lacked some energy, but they just kind of stayed with it, and the Kings did not shoot the ball well. Warriors defensively get credit for that, and the Warriors' poise, I thought, in the final really 65 seconds of this one is ultimately what allowed them to win it. They get a layup from Gary Payton II, then a shot clock violation. Steph Curry with the driving layup to put the Warriors up 100-99, the 2-for-1. You knew Curry was going to go for the 2-for-1. Would it be a 3 or would it be a 2? And Curry's able to get into the lane, hit the floater to make it 100-99. And then Sabonis gets lucky on the bank shot to put the Kings back up, but the Warriors able to get a good look from Klay Thompson, and Klay Thompson able to knock it down despite being 5 of 14 at that point. That shot makes him 6 of 15, 14 points for Klay. Klay with 3 blocks tonight. Warriors with 6 total, but Klay Thompson had 3 blocks in this game. He was really doing a lot of things. Steph Curry tonight, 21 points, 7 turnovers, problematic. Warriors did have 17 turnovers in this one. I think that was really a problem. The Warriors just out of sync tonight in a lot of different stretches, but they overcome it, and that allows them to improve to 4-1. And 4-1 right now, as you look at the early Western Conference standings, is good enough to be tied for second with the defending champs, who are also 4-1. Dallas off to a surprise 4-0 start after the disappointing end to their season a year ago. All right, back to the phones we go. 888-957-9570. We'll have our extending the three-point line, our hardest worker of the game as well, coming up here on 95.7 The Game. But let's get back to it with Dexter in the town. What's going on tonight, Dexter? You're on 95.7 The Game.
JD, what's happening? It is a pleasure to be on with you. I really just wanted to give Klay his flowers because I always judge Klay based on the impact he provides to the game when his shot's not falling. First 3 quarters, let's face it, Klay was MIA. The start of the fourth quarter, he willed himself into the game. You already mentioned it. When was the last time Klay had 3 blocks in a game? He had a big block to kind of turn up the energy in the start of the fourth quarter, followed up with the easy, quick layup. And by the time the clock was dwindling down and the ball found Klay, I went Paul Pierce. I called game. I just knew that shot was going in. I need this type of Klay moving forward, someone who provides some impact on the defensive end. I know he's not the old Klay that we used to have, but if he can provide spurts of just energy, I'm not expecting 3 blocks a game, but step in the way, get a charge, create some momentum. That's the Klay that I used to see, and that's the Klay that, sure, is not going to be worth $40 million, but that's the Klay that can come to a decent number that we can kind of re-sign at the end of the year. This win has me excited. It was a gritty win, no Fox. I'm just proud of my Dubs today, and I wanted to give Klay his flowers. I doubted you for 3 quarters today, but you turned it up in the fourth, my guy. I appreciate it. Thank you for your time, JD. You're amazing, my friend. Take it easy.
Appreciate it, Dexter. Thanks for checking in. Don't make that your last call here to Warriors Wrap Up on 95.7 The Game. 888-957-9570. I wasn't down on Klay tonight. I thought Klay actually had a pretty good floor game overall. He just wasn't making shots. But the one thing I'll give Klay credit for, and these are the nights where, it's the nights where the shots aren't falling, and there's almost a defiant, I'm just going to keep shooting it like I'm hot, and I didn't think he did that tonight. And to me, that's, I don't know, 75% of the battle, I think, is on the nights where Klay isn't hitting shots consistently, that he just is able to stay patient and take good shots, because he always has the capability of knocking down the last one. And I'm with you. I thought the way that the Warriors played that whole possession at the end, it was just so calm and focused from the way Steph handled it, getting it to Draymond getting it to Klay. And, we sit in the media seats behind the Sacramento basket in the fourth quarter where the Kings were going in the second half. So we get a good look at that opposite end of the floor where Klay knocked that shot down, and everything looked fluid. The dribble into it, the rise. I mean, it looked like it was good all the way, really, from the moment he pulled up for it. And sure enough, he's able to knock it down, and the Warriors able to walk out of Chase Center with their first victory of this 2023-24 campaign. All right, 888-957-9570. Let's go to our extending the three-point line for tonight, brought to you by West Coast Men's Health.
Paul, guarded by Monk, waits for Saric. Gets middle, Chris Paul. Back to Saric, he's open, loads up another three! 81-79, the Warriors go up by 2. And Saric now with 15.
Yeah, Saric with 15. He would finish with 15. He was 3 of 5 from 3. That you're extending the three-point line, three-pointer of the night. Brought to you by West Coast Men's Health, successfully treating men for ED and chronic pain. Visit westcoastmenshealth.com for more. And tonight was a night where Dario Saric really helped. And there's times where defensively you're kind of thinking, how's this going to work? But offensively, he was brought in because he's somebody that can fill it up. And I thought, tonight he did have 3 turnovers. There are a couple times where he just was just a step off, I thought, a bad handle on a couple of passes there. But 15 points tonight and the 3-pointers in 20. Like, there's going to be nights where we're going to look up and Dario Saric has got between 12 and 15 points and knock down some threes and prove to be a difference maker for this Warriors team. And tonight was one of those nights, and the Warriors definitely needed it. And it just goes to show the balance and the different style of big that the Warriors have. We've seen Looney have an impact in other games against Sacramento in the past. I thought tonight was not, maybe one of Looney's more impactful games against Sacramento, only 23 minutes, but they were able to piece it together with Draymond playing some minutes there, and they really needed Saric as production off the bench with the 15 points in 20 minutes, and it's been kind of an up and down start for Saric. I think he's had maybe 2 real fluid, solid offensive games out of 5 so far, but I think him playing that way is going to be a real boon for this Warriors team on the nights that he's able to do it. All right, 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. Warriors wrap up here tonight on 95.7 The Game. Warriors beat the Kings 102-101 as they improve to 4-1. Let's a couple of minutes of Steve Kerr as he met with the media downstairs here in Chase Center following the Warriors' victory.
He's obviously made a million big shots for us over the years, but hitting one with 0.2 left when you're down, that's a thrill for anybody, no matter how many times you've done it before. So I'm really happy for Klay. He's put in a ton of work this summer, and season started out a little slowly for him in camp, but he's really finding the groove, and that was a big play.
What have you noticed about your team's ability to close out? It is early, but just close out these games last season. That was kind of
we'll get better with our execution, but I think the biggest thing through 5 games is our defense. We've got a long way to go, but through 5 games, our defense has been really good, and we're for the most part taking better care of the ball, and we're putting in the work, and guys are being rewarded for it.
Hey, Coach, I got 2 for you. One is about what you just kind of touched on with defense. 2 late shot call violations for your defense. Is that something that you looked at as a jump in the way that they've been producing on defense, especially for the simple fact that it just seemed that they were pretty locked down on the defensive end of the ball compared to what you saw headed into the season?
Yeah, those are great examples of 12 24-second full possession defense, and that takes a lot of discipline. Not fouling at the end of the shot clock, and then forcing those violations. Those are big boosts. The crowd gets into it, and our guys feed off that. What was your first question? I'm sorry.
Well, that was the first. My second is actually about Dario. Obviously, he has been a big impact, made an impact on this game, especially being able to kind of linger outside, knock down shots. He was 6 of 9. I don't know if that was his final, but towards the end of the fourth, when you pulled him out, he was 6 of 9 for 3. Yeah. And Sabonis was kind of sagging off, and that opened him up a bit. What will that be for your offense? How much of an impact do you think his presence out there on the floor make for your offense?
Yeah, it's massive. It gives us an entirely different dimension. That's what Otto Porter and Belly did for us 2 years ago. Gives you the ability to change the look up and space the floor with your 5-man, and that stretches the defense out. So Dario was a huge pickup for us, a guy who can flat out play, and he was fantastic tonight.
You closed with GP2. Was that specifically a Monk matchup? Yeah. And no Wiggins again to close? It's just the way this is going to work sometime?
Yeah, no Wiggs, no Looney the last 3 minutes, but that it doesn't mean it's going to be like that all the time. It was a matchup thing. They went smaller, which is when we went to Gary, when they brought Monk in, I think around the 3-minute mark, and Gary's our best matchup against him.
All right, so Steve Kerr there, sharing his thoughts on Klay Thompson. Big on the Warriors' defense here through the first 5 games of the season. And tonight were Dario Saric able to help the Warriors. And that's a good way to get into our hardest worker of the game, which is brought to you by Alameda County Sheriff's Office, who works hard to serve the community. Are you looking for a career in law enforcement? Learn more about job opportunities at joinacso.com. And our hardest worker of the game tonight, going to give the nod to Dario Saric for the 15 points on 6 of 9 shooting, 3 of 5 from three-point range. He had 6 boards. That's the one thing that the Warriors bench players continue to do. They collectively rebound. Chris Paul with 4. You got Saric with 6. You got Peyton with a couple. Moody had 3 in 15 minutes. Maybe not Moses Moody's best game of the first 5 of the season to this point, but they're collectively rebounding, I think, a lot better than they had going back to last year's iteration of this team, where it's one thing to be small and look up and down your roster and all right, you don't have a lot of height or you don't have a lot of size, but it's another thing to play small. And I feel like this Warriors team doesn't necessarily have that much more size top to bottom than last year's Warriors team, but I think this Warriors team plays bigger than the Warriors team of a year ago. So you can be small, but that doesn't mean you got to play small. If you have some guys that play maybe bigger than their stature, and I think the Warriors have found a better balance with that. I know Paul at times, some say at this stage of his career, maybe he gets picked on a little bit defensively, isn't quite what he used to be. But Chris Paul's still somebody for a 6-foot guard that's able to get to a lot of boards. I mean, even collectively in the starting lineup tonight, the Warriors did get out rebounded. The offensive rebounds, I think, did hurt them, but there's just a collective to rebound, especially from that bench group, that I think has been impressive. All right, 888-957-9570. Our hardest worker of the game tonight brought to you by Alameda County Sheriff's Office, who works hard to serve the community. Again, we give that to Dario Saric tonight as the Warriors win 102-101. All right, Draymond Green postgame. Don't think we're going to have the audio of it here in the final 4 or 5 minutes before we call it a night, but I'll just read you this quote from Draymond Green postgame. Draymond Green asked about everyone being able to sacrifice and what does that do for this team's chemistry in the postgame press conference with respect to comparing it to last year. The question: what does everyone being able to sacrifice do for this team's chemistry compared to last year? And I'll give you the short version of Draymond Green. What he said: last year we had an awful team as far as team chemistry goes. And then Draymond went on: last year was horse bleep, hard to come to work, not fun. This year, you see the joy on guys' face when they come in the building. This is a group that likes being together. Now, chicken and the egg, right? And I think there's a lot of you out there that are thinking, well, wait a minute. Like Draymond, well, you were kind of a part of that. And Draymond has been accountable for the fact that he was part of that last year. But there's something to be said for the vibes being a little different, the collective sacrifice between the veteran players and young players, everybody getting on the same page, just having a group that blends better together. And I think, when you're winning early, it's easy to say those things. I mean, the true test is going to be through some injuries and once you start to get deep into November and then you get toward the holidays and you get in the dog days in January where you're screaming for the All-Star break to come and it's still a month away. Like there's the long season, and the true depth of this Warriors team is going to be tested when they have a starter or two out of the lineup at the same time. That's where we'll find out. All right, does this? I always say you have two kinds of depth, right? You have the depth to where you have a real good team when you have everybody, right? When everybody's in their proper role, there's that kind of depth, and you can go 10, 11 deep, but you're playing your top 10, 11, and then there's the kind of depth to where when you lose, let's say 2 of your top 8, you have, and one of them's a starter that you really count on, that you have 2 players that can step in from maybe your 9, 10, 11 spots that can step in and elevate and be in your rotation. And then you have a couple of guys of your 4, 5, 6 spots who can step in and fill the void for whoever, if it's your 1, 2, or 3 that's out among your best players. So there's 2 different kinds of depth. There's the depth that overcomes not having key players, and then there's the depth to where you have a real good team with a lot of different pieces that complement each other well and different options to go when you're closer to whole. And we looks like the Warriors have that depth at this point. We don't totally know if they have the other depth, and of course, Warrior fans don't want to find out. But like any NBA team, the injuries are going to come, and the Warriors are going to have to find out if they have that kind of depth. But you got a better chance with the team chemistry being as is, and I think getting off to a good start only helps what everybody said about how things were going to be. When you're able to say how you want it to be, and then you're able to go out and win, and then it validates everything that everybody says about what the way they wanted it to be. And it's easy for Steve Kerr in a post-game press conference in Sacramento to go, last year was last year. I don't even want to talk about last year. This team's won all kinds of road games. One road game, that's not a big deal. We're going to win a lot of road games. For Draymond to say last year was horse bleep, hard to come to work and all that. And again, he has to bear some of that responsibility for that. But to say that it's night and day compared to last year, I think is absolutely not nothing. All right, one more call here before we end the night. Joe in San Jose is next on Warriors Wrap-Up here on 95.7 The Game. Hey, Joe.
Hey, guy. Hey, thanks for taking my call. It was a good game, very entertaining. Went down to the wire. Didn't even have to go down to the wire. Steph don't have those 7 turnovers, and I think the Warriors need to clean that up. How do they address that? I mean, that's why they
have a factor in the Suns all that much. Look, I think you could get more Chris Paul ball handling tonight if Chris Paul had played better himself tonight. Chris Paul didn't play all that well in this game tonight. With the 1 of 5 shooting, and but he still has a command. So I think tonight was the kind of game where you look up and tonight was going to be a night where it was going to be less Chris Paul, maybe compared to other nights. It only he still ended up playing 28 minutes. And he was still, out there in stretches, down toward the end of the game as well. But the Warriors are just going to be a team that turns it over. If the Warriors are in the 14 range, the 12 to 14 range, which they've been in the 12 to 14 range, I think in 3 of the 5 games, you're going to take that. And I think Steve Kerr would even take that as well. So good night for Klay Thompson to finish on. Good floor game from Klay Thompson. And the Warriors able to grind one out. I think the Kings will walk out of Chase disappointed on their side of things, but playing without De'Aaron Fox against a team that's become kind of a nemesis of theirs, to be able to be in position. Both teams can say they had their opportunities. in this one. Both teams can say that. Kings will say if they had scored more off the second chances, they would have won. Warriors can say if the turnovers hadn't been there, then they would have won by more. But when you add it all up, it winds up being that one possession and 1 point game, and the Warriors ended up with the final opportunity that they were able to cash in. All right, that'll do it for tonight. Good stuff. Thanks to the callers. Thanks to the texters. Thanks to everybody for listening. Thanks to everybody watching on YouTube as well. I'm John Dickinson. Warriors wrap up here at 95.7 The Game. We'll be back on Friday following the Dubs and the Thunder. Willard and Dibbs are going to have Warriors Live for you. I think Larry Kruger is sitting in for Dibbs on Friday as well. So it'll be Willard and Kruger with Warriors Live. 4 o'clock for the Warriors and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Tips at 5, 4 o'clock for Warriors Live. It'll be Willard and Krug for that one. And then I'll be back after the ball game taking your phone calls on Warriors Wrap-Up. And we'll have Warriors This Week for you on Saturday morning as well. So keep it locked right here on 95.7 The Game. Thanks to Sterling Bennett. Thanks to everybody in our San Francisco studios. Warriors get the win tonight, 102-101. We'll talk to you on Friday, and you heard it all right here on your home for Warriors basketball. It's 95.7 The Game.
Some can be temperamental. Some can be unreliable.